Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny Sanzo. My associate, Monica Hobbs, is going to be kicking off this call for me. I just figured out how to hit record, and here we are.
Hello, friends. First of all, thank you for showing up. The first of the month is a busy day, I think, for most of us, and how this Wednesday landed on the first of the month. We're kind of like at least I am, with everything in life, but lots of, fun announcements and things going on. And I think really one of the things that I keep going back to is I forgot, when I read this book previously, I think it's been a few years. I went back and read because I read the first two chapters twice before our last Zoom, and then I went back and reread them again. And I think the thing about this book is that you could reread it 100 times and you're going to get different things out of it every single time. You guys feel that? And feel free to drop in the chat, like if there was anything that you guys took away with, the homework and everything. But how are we feeling from the last two chapters? Because whenever we finished that, we were looking at that and talking about the soloist or the conductor. And I think, from where we are as business owners, business leaders in the entrepreneurial world, I feel like a lot of times it can get lonely doing this, and then sometimes we can get overwhelmed doing this because there's maybe so many of us doing some things. And it was when I went back and reread it again, and I think I just take in information differently, maybe depending on my mood. I'm not really sure what it is, but I think this is something that, again, really looking forward to. And we are just going over chapter 3 today, and we have questions that we're going to do along the way, and really have some more discussion time. So I know this is something that, a lot of us as leaders that are wanting to have a shift in our business, a lot of us that are going for, at least the rank of MMB by next monations. And I think a lot of the things too that we just launched and dropped today is really going to set us up for that leadership of what we're doing. And, we just got off our team call. I think, Jenny, you just got off your team call too. And because this is all fresh in my mind is, we're in business of servicing others, and everything that we do, we're servicing others, and we do get rewarded in turn for doing that. And I feel like this month, just before we dive into all of this, I feel like this month is really where we're going to be focusing on other people and helping them have their success. And I know majority of the time when we are working our business, we're helping others, but sometimes it's like, what's in it for me? I'd love to build my block. I would love to get my bonuses. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to have a great paycheck? But this is something where this month and November, with gratitude and what we can do for other people. I don't know if you guys listened to Stuart's Facebook, or not Facebook, but Instagram Live this morning. If you haven't, it was pretty nice and short and sweet. And he said a few things. I was like, wow, that he really hit the nail on the head. And I do miss the president's message. And that kind of took place, but he really talked about gratitude and serving others. And how can we, help others this month? And I think, with where we're at in the book going into chapter 3, and where we're at in this month and this season, and where we're wanting to be in a year's time, it's like the perfect alignment. So Jenny, do you want to start like the slides, or where do you want to start with that?
Okay, I was typing.
Oh,
because Stuart, it was so fun. I'm like, was Stuart in my head, like as I was getting the slides and everything ready, and then I watched his thing this morning, and there was one thing he said, and I wrote it down on my beautiful scrap of paper here, but he said, managers make you think they're important, where leaders make you think you're important. And that's kind of the entire framework for what we're talking about here today. So I'm going to get right into our little slideshow, because if you know me, you know I'm a huge nerd, and this is just my love language here, is like a nice PowerPoint deck. Hopefully there's no typos, because I was doing this at the store today. But this chapter was all about that shift into like personal development and how important that is. And being in Mon8, we're very lucky that this company is so heavy into personal development. It's one of the greatest things I've gotten out of this business is all the personal growth and all the mentors I've been exposed to over the years, and just that constant emphasis on working on yourself and always striving to be better. So that's just a part of our DNA in this company. But the way Maxwell kind of laid it all out here is that improving yourself is the first step in improving everything else. So it has to start with you. And he talked about shifting from goals being your focus. And guys, we're in network marketing. We're always talking about goals, right? Like send your goals to your leader on your first of the month. What are your goals this month? How close are you to your goal? Did you front load your calendar? It's how you get to your goal. And that's important, right? Like it's a business. You need to have goals. You need to shoot for numbers. You need to have benchmarks. You need to know your KPIs and your IPAs and all the things, right? Like it's a business. But he talked about what you learn along the way being even more important. He was talking about when he grew his first church, and he said the lessons I learned were actually more important and more valuable to me than hitting any numbers or achieving the goal. And that's the moment that he made the shift from goals to growth, because he says that goals helped him do better. But oh, there's a nice typo, but growth, that's just a growth, I'll fix that, helped me to become better. So he talked about falling in love with personal development, which again, I think is just part of our culture here at Mon8. So this isn't really a stretch for us. He talked about 4 key areas of growth, and he gave us an acronym: REAL, relationships, equipping, attitude, and leadership. He talked about embracing change and adopting a growth mindset, and to just fall in love with learning and wanting to know more and be better and do better, and let that love of learning outweigh your fear of failure. Because spoiler alert, nobody's perfect. We're all going to fail along the way, but failure, that's how you learn. So as long as you are learning from it and you are growing, it's really not a failure. You might have not hit the benchmark. You might have taken 2 steps back, but here, if you're constantly learning and growing, you're winning. Oh, there's another typo. Stay close to the fire. Guys, I do my best proofreading after I publish things. What does he mean by stay close to the fire? This is something Connie Sanchez, if you follow her, she says this a lot. And it's being cognizant of who you're spending your time with and making sure that the people that you're spending the most time with and that you're learning from are positive growth mindset kind of people. Because whoever you spend the most time with, you're going to kind of adopt their mindset, their attitude, etc. So I'm sure we've all heard that you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. That's why it's so important when you're staying close to the fire, you're staying close to the people who are positive, who are growth mindset, who have goals, who are, striving to make a difference and do better and be better. And that's another thing that this company has given me, is a circle of people that I never would have known otherwise, who are just, Monica's one of them. Like, we never would have been friends if it wasn't for this business. And her friendship is such a blessing to me. Like, we have cheered each other on from day one. And when we get in a funk, the other one's there to like pull us out and snap us out of it. And it is just so, I can't even begin to tell you how important it is to have somebody like that in your corner. And if you don't have somebody in your corner, this business is the place to find that person for you. It could be a cross line, it could be a sideline, it could be an upline. But there are people in this business who are cheering you on and want to see you grow your way to success. He talked about action, reducing fear, right? Sarah Hill talks about it. I talk about it. Massive, messy action. If you get into activity, then you stop overthinking, right? And if you reduce fear, you're going to increase your courage. How many people never get started in this business because they're stuck in their head, right? Because they start getting scared and they think about it too much. And now they've never scheduled their launch because what if nobody comes? And what if I post on Instagram and that girl that's next to me in psych that I haven't talked to in 20 years, like makes a snarky comment about it, right? So people get stuck in their head, and then that inaction lets the fear build up instead of just jumping into it And as soon as you get into activity, that fear goes down and that courage goes up. You have to believe in yourself, because what you think about yourself determines the investment you're going to make in yourself. And personal development is an investment in yourself. It's not necessarily a financial investment. It can be, like going to Monations. That is a financial investment in yourself. Buying this book is a financial investment in yourself, but even more than that, it's a time investment. Are you going to take the time to delve into personal development, to sit with yourself, to journal, to work through the ick to be able to get to where you need to be? Because the truth is, this is the long game. There's not a finish line here. So that's that difference between just being goals focused and being growth focused. Because if you're growing, you're always growing. You never want to stop getting better. Consistency is going to compound. If you've read The Compound Effect, that's another phenomenal book that talks about how consistency compounds upon itself. But there is no finish line here. Okay. I want you to take, I'm not going to read this to you. This was an example in the workbook. It's also in the book, but I want you to read those two descriptions and think about which one sounds more like you. I'll just set the timer for a minute and give you guys a minute to think about it. So those are two different mindsets there. List 1 is a fixed mindset. List 2 is a growth mindset. Okay, so think about those. I'm going to flip back there. But I want you to think back to the list, which was number 2. That was the growth mindset. Which of those things do you already do well? And which is the most challenging and why? I'm going to go back. So believes intelligence can be developed, embraces challenges, persists even when there's setbacks. Effort is a good thing. It means I'm going to master this. I'm going to learn from constructive criticism. I'm going to be inspired by other people's success. Which one of those are you like, yep, got it? And which thing are you like, nee, Michelle?
Well, like reading the book and then doing the workbook things and then this, it just all triggers the same thing for me. And you already mentioned it once in the call, like messy action, right? It's like intelligence isn't just reading something or going to school for something. Like we learn things every day if we're looking to learn, right? Sometimes we learn things the hard way. That's always a joke, right? But it's like, I don't know how to do Canva very well, but it's like a goal of mine to get better at it. And it's like, it's complicated, it stresses me out, but it's like, I'm doing it. It's just, there's things that you can do to help yourself, right? But if you're just never even thinking about making the first step to help yourself, you're losing, right? Like you don't just stay in one place, you lose if you're not learning. Because the world moves too fast. Everything's going at such a rate. You can't just go, oh, I got a degree, I'm good for life. It doesn't work that way anymore, right? So we might have like figured out everything. We went through Smart Start, let's say, and we did this. It's like, that doesn't mean anything anymore. I'm not saying it's not important or a value, but it's like doing the do gets you places, right?
100%. Bina, did you want to share?
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I want to share. I used to be somebody in the category of the first list of things, because obviously I'd never got any personal development in my life. And since I've joined this business and with the support of you guys and learning from all the leaderships, I'm shifting to the number 2 list. that I can change, I can achieve what I want, I can accomplish what I set my mind to. I persist despite setbacks. Obviously, we come across a lot of them, but I have hope. I look up to you guys or people who are already reaching their goals, and I want to learn from you guys and get inspired. So I'm slowly getting into that second category, which I'm grateful for everything and everybody who is, here for each other. So yes, that's happening, but slowly.
I love that. Does
I
anybody
have a
any-
question.
Yeah, go
I have
ahead.
a question. Okay, so I'm definitely number two. I'm like very driven by intelligence and learning and constructive criticism. What I'm having a hard time dealing with is like people that I'm helping who are failing, like they're not succeeding, and I'm trying my best to help them, and they're not being. It's in another thing that I do, but that's my biggest challenge. Like when you try to help someone and I guess when you fail at it, like I feel like I failed at helping this person. So like I rejoice in their success. I rejoice in everyone's success, but I kind of take on that feeling of sadness for their failure, and I don't know how to cope with it. So that's just.
Well, people also need to want the help. So
Yeah,
you
like I'm
can't-
dealing with a number one, and I find it totally frustrating. It's like I don't know how to deal with it. Any advice?
I mean, so I think if somebody is coachable and willing to put in the work and work with you, that you can change for sure. Like these are all learnable skills, but if the other person isn't receptive or doesn't,
Right, they're
let's
not. They're
say-
fixed. They're totally set in their ways. They're fixed
yeah,
mindset.
if they don't
Everything is like they
want-
take it personally. Like everything, like in every area of their life, there is like, and it's like, I don't know. You talked about surrounding yourself with the 5 people that you want to be around. Like, do I want this person in my life anymore? I don't know, because it's getting so frustrating. So, I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
You don't want to, you don't want to like not help them still, but am I really helping them if they're not if they're not growing at all?
yeah, and I mean, gosh, I've been doing this almost 9 years. I've come across a lot of people who weren't willing to make changes and didn't want to be helped and were set in their ways and they weren't ready. Like sometimes it's timing for people. And it has to be a two-way street. Like we can't want it for somebody else. What do you
Okay.
think? Like, what do you think, Mon? Like, I know you've dealt with this a lot too, because we've both been doing this a long time. And it is one of the hardest parts of leadership is when you see potential in someone and they just don't.
I think for me, I mean, the same, been here for, a long time. And like she said, you want it for people so bad. We want it more for them than I think that they want it for themselves. And I have come across that so many times. And I think the thing is like, okay, I've tried to help you do this, I've tried to help you do that. And then in return, are they giving back like 50-50? Are they showing you if it's Monate related, let's see the list, let's see the contact list, because if it's not working for them, it means they're not doing it. So it just depends, have them show you what they're doing. Okay, so, was it the contact list? Let me see your conversations if you can't close something or whatever have you. And if they're not doing that and they're just more of like, this time suck to you, unfortunately, it has to be time to move on. And you can tell them, I've done this for you, or I've not done this for you. I've tried to do this with you and help you, lead you. But if you're not wanting to do those things, then I don't know what more I can personally do to help you improve. And I think those are just the hard conversations that you have to have. And I mean, it's happened, so many times. I mean, there's so many times and so many people that have joined us in this business direct to me and in my downline that you become close with, and eventually they fizzle out or they fade out and they're just no longer interested or invested. Sometimes you have to cut the cord, but let them know, hey, I'll be here for you when you're ready. But this is where I'm at in this, and this is what I want to do with this. So you just have to have that conversation, and just, we're adults, and having that honest, conversation with them is just what needs to happen on a scale of 1 to 5. Where are you with this? Are you doing the things that I shared with you that you can do to be successful in this? And then that's going to kind of give you your answer. And then I think you can respond from that to them.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, good question. Okay, we're going to go on to the next question, which has another beautiful typo in it. But what can you do to help yourself love learning more than fear failure? And how does belief in yourself come into play?
I will go if no one wants
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
Did someone want to go? Cynthia, you're still unmuted. You can take the floor. Or that's Carrie. That's not Cynthia.
Oh,
Cynthia.
what can I do more to help myself? Well, I mean, I haven't really been that successful in Monate so far. I'm very analytical minded, so I focus more on like all the back office materials and it's just I have a degree in finance, so it's not like, it's like, this is getting me out of my comfort zone, basically. Like having a party is freaking scary to me. It's not like I don't want to do it. I'm just scared. I'm not scared that people won't go. People will go. I'm just scared to do it. So, and I don't, honestly, I don't really, my sponsor doesn't really have a lot of dates available. So I may just bring some friends to some other parties that are going on. So I may do it that way. I'm getting together with some girls on Saturday night, so it's something I can discuss then. But I tend to get stuck in that. I do want to learn everything in the back office, because I feel if I'm not educated on every product, or at least the skincare, which I love the skincare and I love the hair care, but there's so many products. It's just a lot, it's a lot take in 1 month, so, and
Yeah.
feel like, and I want to be of value to people. So I want to make sure I'm adding value when I sell them Monet. I don't want to sell them something they don't want or something they don't need. I want them to be happy with their products and their purchases, and they will. But so like I said, it's just, I have a little fear about the party because I'm antisocial. I'm an accountant type person. I've my whole career has been that I've been sitting behind a desk. I've done a lot of public speaking, but I rarely get out there and just throw parties and get social like that. I threw one party for my 30th birthday party. I've never really thrown parties.
It doesn't have to be a big party. So I think just based on your personality and having been very successful, that you hear the launch event and you're like, I'm doing this up. I'm gonna it's gonna be big. It's gonna be awesome, and it doesn't have to be. So I think just being able to get in person and share with people, even if it's 5 or 6 people, 3 or 4 people, it does not have to be a huge production, and you don't have to know everything in back office. If you ask me a technical question about, I've been doing this 9 years. You ask me a technical question about what does this ingredient do? I'm going to have no idea. I'm going to say, you know what? That is a great question. I will get back to you.
Okay.
Because all that stuff,
Yeah.
all that stuff you can look up. Right?
Okay.
And one of the things I say a lot is there are no shampoo emergencies. So that even if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, say, you know what? I've only been doing this for a month. That is a great question. Let me find out and I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
Okay.
That is a completely reasonable response. So, and I think that's where this question says about belief in yourself, being confident enough to be I don't need to have all the answers. I can still be successful at this. I don't have to be a walking encyclopedia. There's a resource library. I can look up anything I need to. I have a support system. I can ask questions. I can do this, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I got stuck. Like, I printed out a lot of the product stuff, like, especially for the total greens, because my dad's a doctor. And then the makeup, but it didn't print right. It didn't print in color. Like, I'm missing a cartridge. So then I'm like, then I paused right there. I stopped printing altogether. So I'm like, like, I get really hung up on these little technical details that it's like but you're right. Like, it's just a couple things that, like, I did have some really bad rejections in the beginning from people that I thought would be like my biggest supporters. So I was really kind of defeated by that, but I'm not defeated, but I was disappointed, like, for like a day. Yeah. I mean, but I feel like that helped me though. That'll help me grow. I just feel like it'll help me become, because that's the hardest rejection you can get. Like, if anyone else says no, I'm not going to care. You know what I mean? Like, but the one person that I really wanted to do this with totally rejected me, like, in the worst possible way. So I was really kind of sad about it, but
drop a one in the chat if one of the people that you had your heart set on told you no.
Okay. Okay.
You are not alone, friend. It's unfortunately part of the experience. I saw Trisha tried to. Trisha, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I wanted to tell Carrie. So I do group parties and stuff like that, like with my husband and his people and stuff, but I tend not to do well with a large group. I like the one-on-ones a lot, Carrie, and I think you're probably the same. So what I have had really good success with is just meeting for coffee or meeting for a glass of wine or going to lunch with people. And I bring my oil, whatever products you have that you use, I just bring and then let them sample it. And I've really had great success with VIPs with that.
Okay. So thank you for the advice.
And I just tell them how I just tell them how I use it, how I like, what it's done for my skin or my hair. And then if they have questions, just say, I can look that up for you and get back with you. Like if they want ingredients or, but the one thing that you should do is don't go into too much detail about every product. Try and just do the certifications because they're quick.
I did them already. I did those already. I got my hats and everything.
Yeah, just drop questions in the chats with us. And, we've been using the products for longer, so I'll be glad to chime in on my experience on stuff because I've been here almost as long as Jenny.
Yeah, because I mean, the first thing I went to, my dad's like a naturopath, he's a chiropractor. So the first thing I did was I went to him and I'm like, can you just look these over? Because I don't want to sell something that doesn't have your stamp of approval, because he's been doing this his whole life. So he was very impressed with the product, and he told me there were only two that he would not recommend. But he said the other line is it's fabulous. He loved the packaging. He thought it was great. So I'm really excited about that. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
but you're right with the one-on-ones. And
the one-on-ones do really well too. Yep. And also the whole point with the like I had all of my family shoot me down, like every one of them. I'm not doing that. I don't want any of those products, nothing. So I had one times many.
Okay. Yeah, no,
I'm
like
sure
it was like someone I had my heart set on, and then like my best friend, like, I mean, I know she's not doing well financially right now, but she's she went out and spent $1,000 on other stuff, you know, so you can't
Right.
place an $89 order with me. Like, I don't understand. It's stuff you've been asking for forever.
Now I
So
know.
whatever, and all I could do is like, I'll just get her like a gift. You know, we exchanged Christmas gifts, so I just got her something from Monet. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one thing that Tony Robbins said last Monations was, and this keeps sticking in my head, is when people say no, you just say next. Just keep going to the next person, because there's a lot of people out there that have hair and
Yes.
skin
And
that
you
need
never
help.
know.
Yeah.
They can come around. We just have
Yeah.
to, I just noticed the time, you guys, it's 8:03. So I want to I don't want to cut you guys off, but I just want to get to the last
that's fine.
question. So here's the last questions. Oh my gosh, I should proofread better. What challenges or difficulties do you anticipate facing by changing your focus from external goals to internal growth? And what can you do to overcome them? So if you haven't shared yet tonight, and you want to, I would love to hear from you.
Don't be shy, friends.
Sounds like a
All
plan.
night, but I'm not gonna do it.
Sounds like a plan.
Sloan, what are you doing?
I'm just
I can
listening
go.
to everybody. Honestly, I'm listening
Do
to
you want to
everybody.
share anything though? I feel like you have so much wisdom to share.
Well, let me think about this really quickly, because I mean, the challenges or difficulties that I anticipate, I kind of feel like, I don't want to say like it's not that I anticipate them, I just know I guess that's the same thing, but there are challenges that are going to come along with absolutely every single goal and aspect of what I'm trying to do in this business. And so, one thing that I have found in reading this book is like going back to like the understanding that we make this, whether we want to or not, we make it about ourselves. And and as much as I want this to sound in the most kind way possible, even the conversations we've been having are kind of about like us, how our business is being affected, how we're feeling about certain things. And like, really it needs to become in the focus of like serving others and like what is happening there. And like this business couldn't serve whoever that was at that time. And so rather than just saying like, I don't want to say like staying in that space, but rather than staying in that space, being like, okay, let's move on and find the person that is ready to be changed by this opportunity that I have. You know, I one of the things that I've done a lot of is I have stayed in a space where I have stayed in a woe is me kind of thing. Like, why is this happening? What's going on? But one thing I will tell you is that action and just stepping into the next thing is what's going to help you realize what the problem was in the first place. That was happening back then. You know, staying and thinking about it longer and longer and longer is just going to perpetuate the situation. If you go into more action into the next situation, that's when you're going to learn more. So that it didn't answer this specific question, but it did say the anticipation of having to change your focus from like external to internal goals. That's an internal thing. That's an internal process that you have to decide like, okay, this didn't work. And this person decided not to do this with me. That has nothing to do with me. And I need to go and do the next right thing so that I can find who this is for. Because when we stay in the space of what did I do wrong, that's when it's about you and it's not about the people that we're trying to recruit. I don't know. That's just my initial thoughts that kind of came to my mind. I can keep talking because I don't like awkward silence.
She'll be back eventually.
No, I'm so glad that you shared that. And that's why I like called on you, because I knew you would have something really good nugget to share. But it's funny that you said that, because I shared just this random quote I found on Instagram in my team's Leadershift chat today. So if you're in that and you already saw it, I apologize for the redundancy, but it's 12 things growth has shown me other people's behavior is on them. My behavior is on me. Most people are just projecting. I choose what I let in. Sometimes walking away is the only option. Gratitude's a superpower. Emotional maturity is worth striving for. Never assume. Self-care matters deeply, and vulnerability and safe spaces can be beautiful, but it's not internalizing other people's ish, right? Which is so hard, especially if we're coming from a place of really wanting to help people. We can't do that, like you said, Amy, if we're just constantly worrying about ourselves and our feelings and making it about us, even though it's really hard not to sometimes, because usually when somebody says no, even to the products or to the business, sometimes they're just not interested. But more often than not, especially with the business, they just don't believe in themselves enough to say yes, to give it a shot. Like, that's really what I found over the last 9 years. That's what it comes down to, is they don't have the belief in themselves to give it a shot, probably 90% of the time. And then the 10% of the time, they're like, I really have no interest in doing that. No, thank you. Right. But most of the time, it's more of a confidence issue where they look at you and they're like, oh, that's good for her. That's not for me. Did anybody have anything else they want to share before we go?
One thing I did want to say is, like, I hope that what I was saying made sense, and that the shifting from an external, like the external goals to the internal growth, the action that's required there is the messy action. That's what I was trying to say is, okay, I just want to make sure that what I was saying made sense. Okay.
That's the kind of moving forward issue I'm having really quick, is that I'm talking to a lot of people every day, and they're buying, everyone's buying, as much as I could, right? But making them, start thinking about maybe joining, being a team member with me. It's an issue because the first thing they say is, well, look at what you have. You have the boutique. It's easy for you. It's in front of you. It's on a shelf. And oh my God, you're perfect for this. Oh, that's not me. I could never do what you're doing. I mean, how nice, you have it in front of you. That's what they're saying. So it's kind of tough. I'm like, oh, it's, yes, this is what I have, I said, but you can do as easy as, have a cup of coffee.
She's a hairstylist, Amy, like you.
Yeah. Like who? Like Amy?
Amy's a hairstylist too. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Amy. Awesome.
I just wanted to.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I have to definitely work on, is my recruitment.
Yeah. But a lot of times that's genuine. Like they
Mhm.
really don't, like, that's really at the core, is that they don't believe they can do it.
Right.
And even once they're in the business, it's the biggest thing that holds people back. I have seen so many, I get emotional thinking about it, because I have seen so many people that I saw so much potential in over the years quit before they start, because they don't have a support system and they don't have the belief in themselves. So that's why it's so important for us not to be doormats, right? But to be able to pour into other people. You can pour into other people and still have boundaries. It's not that's not, servant leadership doesn't mean you let people treat you badly, but
I think one of the things that has helped me, I'm trying to see, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I was going to.
Marilyn.
Marilyn. That's Marilyn.
Maryland. Okay. So I've been doing this 8.5 years, not 9 years like Sanzo, but quite a while. And in the very beginning of my business, I came across the same objection. A lot, a lot. And one of the things that I have found that really helps with it is to validate their objection first. You know what? I completely understand how you feel with that. Like, if I was looking at somebody outside of looking in at this situation, I'd probably think the same thing. But what you need to understand is, I've already talked to every single client, every single person that is sitting in my chair. Outside of that, it's all about networking. And 10, 20 people that I don't know who know 10, 20 people that you don't know, and that's how this becomes networking. It's not about what is in the immediate demographic or within the walls of your boutique. It's honestly the networking side of this that is the power. not what's in the immediate, what people can see. And so let them know their objection is valid, but then also say, you know what? I understand how you feel, and that probably makes you a little scared. But what I can teach you is what others have taught me, that outside of these walls is where the majority of our business is. And I want to help you find those people. That's what I can help you do. And I can use my expertise as a hairstylist to help you with understanding the products. But less than 5% of the market partners that are within this business are actual hairstylists.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Good.
She's
Very
good
helpful.
stuff, that Amy Sloan.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. Amy, besides you being a hairdresser, are you a reel maker too? Because I'm having an issue with making reels. I don't have that. I don't have that. I'm not. I haven't crossed over that fear yet with reels. Like
Am I a
doing
reel maker? A little bit.
I'm not
I
a
do
reel
a little
maker
bit.
yet.
She's a professional comedian, actually.
I do a little bit of reels. Yeah, I have. And you can start utilizing your expertise even just as a hairstylist and start
Yeah.
doing product knowledge reels or
Yeah.
hair tip reels.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can just start sharing. I would, one of the first places I would start is start having like tip Tuesdays and start sharing some tips on Tuesdays. Just post a reel a week. Start there. One reel a week and give a tip from the salon every Tuesday.
And it
That's
could just
great.
be you talking. It doesn't have to have like transitions and things.
Well, I do a lot of befores and afters. I feel better with that. Like
Yeah.
I post my clients what they use. So I do a before and then an after. But on myself, I haven't like I don't have that boldness yet to be like,
Oh, girl.
you know, anything about the product. So I
Once
have
you
to work.
start doing it, you'll be great because you've got such an amazing personality and you've got that
Oh.
smile and you're just bubbly and you're going to come across great on camera. You just got to rip off the Band-Aid. It's going to be great.
Very quick.
Listen, if
Thank you.
anybody can do this, I've done this. Every single one of these people, majority of them have made reels. And if you go back for when we first started over 8 years ago and saw what we did compared to what there is now and the growth that we've had, we just ripped the Band-Aid off. I mean, we looked ridiculous.
Oh, it was so bad.
Ask Jenny for her Justin Bieber parody video.
We used to sing. We've done all the things, and
You guys, it's bad. It's bad out there. And we've all three of us have been wildly successful.
yeah.
It was some real bad content. And yes, this was years ago and content wasn't what it is now. It was still bad. By any
I feel better.
standard. So don't be afraid to be bad.
By
Monica
the way,
had a YouTube channel called Let's Talk About Hair Baby, and we sang.
We did. We sang.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Monica, I use your reels and your hair to my customers. I right away download you and I show them your hair, your before and after, only because a lot of my customers I'm very, my ethnic background. So a lot of curl, a lot of frizz. So I right off the bat says, and plus the fact that you're a blonde, which is
girl. Hey, look at her
Right.
pen reel. That's something. I tell you what.
right. And then you're also color treated. I do a lot of platinums. And with that, very hectic ethnic hair. So they have definitely fallen in love with those the Bond shampoos and the the oil nourishing, that it's amazing for curls. But I use your picture a lot. So yeah, you look like a professional. So
We all do.
I'm
We all use
excited.
the
I'm
head.
excited. Yes, you all do, by the way.
No, I meant we all use Monica's head. Yes.
Look how long it is.
Her
now.
curls are great. Yeah.
I was looking at how long it is. It's crazy.
It is.
You weren't
know.
supposed to have a team call at 8, were you, Mon?
No, we had it at
Good.
7. Nope, you're good.
Okay. No, this was so good. I love that there was more chatting this time. This was great. So hopefully you got some value out of this. I recorded it. I'll get it up on my YouTube and I'll share the link, but keep active in the chats, share stuff as you're don't be afraid to, like, as you're working through something, pop it in the chat and just be like, oh, this quote really hit me. Like, get some discussion going. You don't have to be me or Monica running the call to start a discussion in the chat. So feel free to, like, add value, add your takeaways as we go, because we'll all benefit from it. I learned so much just hearing from you guys. So
I love it.
Awesome. Carrie, I'll see you Friday, I hope.
are you having an event Friday?
Yes.
Awesome. All right,
Yes,
girls, I'm gonna stop recording.
Yeah, Friday. Okay, Friday.
Yes. Yes.
It's this Friday.
Yes. Couple days. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I almost forgot because I actually have a job interview at a hair salon to become a receptionist, just one day a
Ooh.
week. So that
Wow.
may help me, like, learn the business